folks, this is Jadius.
And this is Baeus.
We're in the Wood League, and so are you, and this is our second game featuring Fruitdealer, the recent champion of the GOMtv StarCraft Open Cup, #1, the first ever of that tournament. Picked up a nice chunk of change for that, and we tried to find some games that featured him and his Zergy skills, and this is kind of the second best game that we found. Although we tried our darndest to figure out who this Protoss was, we were lost in translation, couldn't figure out who it was. So we're going to refer to him as Protoss or Blue Protoss. If you happen to know who he is, leave it in the comments or send us an email or something like that.
That would be the light blue Protoss.
Light blue Protoss, baby blue, sky blue, whatever you want to call it. That's him. He's playing Fruitdealer. Really, hopefully a showcase of Fruitdealer here, but, sort of rooting for this Protoss as well.
Yeah, absolutely. JDS, real quick question today. A multiple choice question for you.
Alright, shoot.
Which is your favorite Rocky movie?
Oh, man. Jeez, that's tough.
Because, I think Fruit Slice here is sort of like Rocky. He came up out of nowhere, he rose from the ashes, he won tons and tons of money.
And true, and he was a Zerg, who most people consider to be the most, underpowered or disadvantaged race. And
I thought it was just me who thought that.
Well, I think as far as the debate goes, I think that people lean towards Zerg as being underpowered. I don't know if that's the... I think that people lean towards Terran as being overpowered. I think Protoss is more or less in the middle. I don't know how strongly people lean towards Zerg, but, I'm just saying, like Rocky, came up from the mean streets of the Zerg homeworlds, and no one gave him a chance, but he managed.
Although
to
Zerg kind of
it
in
out.
their own way are the most evil race, aren't they? So
They're...
it's not like we should really be sympathizing with them in the same way that we sympathize with Rocky. It's like as if Rocky went into Drago's home and killed him as a baby. Then he would be like the Zerg.
That's true. That's true. Actually, now that I think about it, I am a fan of Rocky, and I liked a lot of them. I think the second one would have been my favorite one. Like his rematch with Apollo. I didn't really care for the Clubber Lang one. I like the Drago one, and I like the newer one. So I don't know, tough choice. I think number 2. I think I'll stick with number 2. But we got to get to this action. What's going on here, Bass?
Yeah, absolutely. The probe was finally taken down after a long haul at, checking out Fruit Eater's base, and the Zerglings are now going to go back and counter-scout against this Protoss.
Different from what we saw from the Terran in the first game that we showcased. Fruit seller, fruit lover, fruit enjoyer. The Protoss actually opting to scout early on, and probably putting him in a better position than the Terran was in the first game that we saw.
Yep, scouting early on, and he did scout early enough, and he did scout late enough to see Fruitseller's expansion. So he knows the expansion is there, and the Protoss has opted to stick with one base and block in his one base with a nice Zealot standing here, and he's got one sentry as well, so he should be able to block off those Banelings if they try to run up the ramp.
Zergling's going to be pushed back temporarily, but Fruitseller's going to run him right back to maintain the vision on that ramp and that natural expansion for the light blue Protoss. Now pumping out sentries, 2 sentries out now. He's going to try some blocking tactics maybe, or just going to shield this Zealot as he's fighting these Zerglings. Zerglings a little slow to react. They're going to run away, opt to run away rather than fight. But this Zergling is going to see the natural expansion go up before.
Yeah, I like how Fruitseller positioned that one Zergling down by the expansion and the other 3 up to the north. The Protoss thought he had backed off the Zerglings, but the additional Zergling was there to see the expansion go up. Yeah, nice scouting tactic there by Fruitseller.
Absolutely, Fruitseller able to see that expansion is being built, and not only that, the Zergling survives the encounter with the sentries and the Zealot, and Fruitseller actually managing to keep these Zerglings alive against the odds, and I love seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I like how he's just slightly backing off his Zerglings. It will allow him to see when this Protoss moves out the smallest amount. These Zerglings are pretty much expendable. Fruit Store probably does expect them to die, but they will give fair warning for his expansion and for all his bases that an army is approaching.
Protoss now researching hallucination, interesting tactic that you don't often see. I know that I've been burned by it. Maybe not burned, but I mean, it's just sometimes that even if you know hallucination is happening, there's really nothing you can really do about it. What do you think he's going to go for hallucination-wise here, Bayes? Do you think he's going to hallucinate some extra zealots and just
I think he is, because those extra zealots are going to be in the front lines. Those extra zealots are going to be the ones taking the hits, and you know, Fruit Seller may notice that the zealots aren't doing as much damage as he expects, but usually you realize that a moment too late. Those sentries are going to be in the back doing nice damage, and I think, you know, those expendable fake zealots are going to do a great job if he uses zealots.
Now I think we are a little lagging behind here in noticing this strategy, but if you will take a look over at Fruit Salad's base here, he's got 8 queens on the board and several hundred creep tumors, and he's cooking something up here, Bayes.
Yeah, I really like this large amount of creep tumors. He's creeping straight towards the Protoss base. 4 at a time, all moving directly forward, directly in unison. He's not spreading them out. I suppose this makes the creep spread faster. If you look at it right now, you just see how extremely fast it is spreading.
Oh, absolutely. It's racing across the map. Never seen this before, these clumps of creep tumors, 4 at a time. And, you know, Fruit Sailor managing to keep great vision on the Protoss with just minimal units. Protoss going to move out now. Maybe these Zerglings finally going to bite the dust. Looks like that is the case. But Fruit Sailor managing to just have great vision on this. A little Phoenix sneaked in there in the base there, but the Protoss now going to see this army of queens, 13 queens, unlucky number of queens maybe for the Protoss, not for Fruit Seller, but I am really anxious to see the clash of queens and Protoss forces here.
Yeah, queens are a pretty good ranged unit for Protoss, and Fruit Seller also has a bunch of Zerglings here that he's going to move in to reinforce these queens, or not, he will just leave them behind, leave the queens to fend for themselves. But if these Zerglings and queens team up, it will be pretty devastating for us.
Yeah,
of course, he's going to have to move his creep up more, but these 4 tumors at a time are going to do a quick job of that.
If he manages to flank the Protoss forces with the Zerglings, seeing as how there is 2, possibly 3 paths that these 2 players could engage from, it might be quite devastating. But right here, we're going to see the clash of queens. 16 queens currently on the board, and not slowing down here for Fruit Seller.
Yeah, the Protoss backed off perfectly and put a beautiful line of shields up here, keeping, I don't know, like 8 of the queens and all the Zerglings back, unable to get in there and defend, become a meat shield. And now those queens are still stuck behind the force fields.
Yeah, really great shielding, really great force fielding here for the Protoss, doing exactly what he needs to do to kind of shore up his numbers against this massive army of queens. Now the queen's going to realize that they're off the creep and very slow, and they're going to have to retreat. Fruit Seller still with a massive force of Zerg units. More queens coming out now, queens just being rushed out on the board, and just amazing stuff here, stuff that I've never seen before personally.
Yeah, I've seen ridiculous queen rushes. No one really takes them seriously, and I don't think this is not like a traditional queen rush where nothing else is being built. Fruit Special is building some spine crawlers out here, and you know, he's mixing it up. He's got queens, and he's got Zerglings, he's got spine crawlers. It's a very good mix of units. It's not a ridiculous strategy. It's a little bit ridiculous, but it's not ridiculous in the general sense that a queen rush is usually ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. These creep tumor clumps are absolutely integral to this build right now, and it's just seems to be like a masterstroke to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, queens have all that mana, and you got to use it somehow when you're not healing your other queens. But it looks like these queens are doing a great job in here. They do so much damage.
Still haven't seen hallucination used. Might have proved useful there for those initial line of zealots for the Protoss, but the Protoss just getting whittled away, trying to do the best he can with these force fields. Queens are just monstrous spine ripping through the Protoss army. Now more spine crawlers being morphed in here in front of the Protoss base. The Protoss base just pretty much being put on lockdown here. I expect a few more clumps of creep tumors. Yep, there we go. The classic 4 clump might be a strategy we call now for Fruitdealer. The four tumor clump queen rush.
The quad tumor.
The quad tumor queen rush strat going to be sweeping the nation of StarCraft any day, and maybe miscued these overlords into the Protoss base. One of them's going to go down. Hey, even the best Zerg in the world do that, but that's okay. Don't have to feel bad about that. That happens.
Yeah, I think he was expecting that by the time that Overlord finished building, this expansion would be down, and he was wrong about that. This Protoss doing a great job of defending so far, but there are just so many units trying to encroach on this base.
Colossus now made for the Protoss. It barely got to the back of the line of forces here out of the robotics bay. Almost got taken down before it even had a chance to do anything. Did do some damage, but is going to be taken down. Another one on the way, but I don't think this robotics facility is going to survive to see this Colossus being built. Queens, actually, their numbers being whittled down here in a great deal by these stalkers, but these spine crawlers are really going to push the Protoss into a position where he just can't move out of here.
Yeah, Fruitdealer got a lot of spine crawlers in here. It's kind of like an OT mid-game. I really like to see towers put up offensively. It's not often done, but it's really helping out in this battle.
Another 4 tumor clump going down there for Fruitdealer, and he's just going to push this creep all the way up to the Protoss's main front door, push these spine crawlers up. Protoss now going to try to get this second natural mineral expansion without destroying the destructible rocks. He's just going to ignore those rocks because he doesn't have time to do that to get his minerals shored up at this point. His natural expansion is going to go down to these queens. Another clump of 4 tumors going to go down, and this creep is going to spread maybe further than the Protoss can handle here.